Hi, hello everyone. This is Philip Martin. Welcome to a new edition of On Film, on video. There's the camera up there. I'm not used to that. Uh, well, looks like we're getting one movie theater in the central Arkansas area, anyway, coming back online on May 18th. That's according to Matt Smith, who owns Riverdale and a bunch of other theaters around the state. Independent guy, not associated with a chain. He's going to open up. I don't know exactly what his plans are, but we do have a story assigned, so we'll find out probably next week in movie style. We'll probably have that. This week, wow, another great surprise. How to Build a Girl is a really interesting, neat movie. It's not a great movie, but it's very entertaining, and it's very much it's a very generous movie, and I think a very happy movie, and for a hard R rated movie, kind of uplifting and kind of you know kind of one you might want your teenage daughter, son to see. I don't know. It's about writing. It's about a girl who grows up in the Midlands in England, which is sort of I don't know, kind of kind of analogous to maybe the American South here. It's not. It's sort of a backwater, and she gets a chance to write rock music criticism for a London-based magazine, and she does it. It's based on an autobiographical novel by a writer named Caitlin Moran, who we should have an interview with in this week's section. I know a little bit about her. I've read some of her stuff, and she had a interesting upbringing, and it led to this British BBC series, Raised by Wolves, that I've never seen. I've heard good things about it. But apparently she grew up in a hippie household and went to school for a total of maybe 3 weeks in her life. And now she's, yeah, in England, you could still be a celebrity and be a writer. So, so she's kind of a big deal over there, but we don't know much about her here. So we'll find out some stuff. Dan Liebarger's on that. I wrote the review of How to Build a Girl. But the big movie this week, and it is a big movie, sort of surprisingly, is Bad Education, which is on HBO. And, except for it being on HBO, it's got all the earmarks of one of those end of the year kind of award seeking dramas. There's a little dark comedy in it. In fact, it's very funny in some spots, but it's got Hugh Jackman and the wonderful Allison Janney, and it's a real life story. It's lightly fictionalized. They use the real people's names, so at least in most of it, and it's very interesting about how this school district in Long Island, New York, right across from Manhattan there, became one of the best in the country. And the superintendent and some of his Confederates were busy, embezzling to the tune of almost, over $11 million. And this is that story. And it's sort of an interesting idea because it sort of plays with the idea that the school board and the people in the community were sort of complicit in this, in that they kind of knew something or should have known something was going on, because the budgets kept getting bigger and the school roof still leaked, and they had these ambitious projects. But the superintendent, who was making not a bad salary, $173,000 a year actually, but he was living way beyond those means, and his a deputy for business, who Allison Janney plays in the movie, was making $160,000 a year, and she had several houses, beach house in the Hamptons, that sort of thing, and it reminds you a little bit of Alexander Payne's Election, if you'll remember that from way back, in that the kids are smarter than the adults actually give them credit for, and true to life, the school newspaper there did break this story and were the first people to, bring any attention to it. But it's sort of fictionalized. I think that, Janie, it was 2 years after Janie's character had actually resigned that they sort of broke. I believe that's how it worked. But the kid in the movie does a lot more investigative digging than the actual kid did. Though all credit to that school and its newspaper for doing that. So like I said, if it weren't on HBO and it weren't May, this would be one of those films that you would be talking about. Well, was Hugh Jackman going to get a awards nomination? Is Allison Janney going to get an awards nomination? And considering the sort of lost year we're in, maybe both of those are a possibility. It's hard to say. I don't know. But I enjoyed it. If you got HBO, you can watch it now. You do have to rent, stream How to Build a Girl. And that's the movies for this week. That's what we're it's but when the movies come back, and they're going to come back, like I said, starting May 18th here in some form. I don't know whether we're going to have theaters at 25% or 50% capacity, and I don't know exactly what the rules are going to be or how they're going to do it. They're really not going to come back until New York and Los Angeles, come online, because none of the major studios are going to release any of these big tentpole films until then. So you're not going to have a summer like you would normally have, which is kind of good and kind of bad, because it does give us a chance to look at these sort of mid-major films, these, Bad Education and How to Build a Girl, and the other, Arkansas, which is actually coming out. If you missed it last week, Arkansas is coming out on DVD this week, which is sort of an interesting thing in that we've been sort of working towards this for quite a while now at the movie style section. A few years ago, we decided that we were going to start integrating more stuff in about streaming movies, and we upped the DVD thing. And now it's sort of like, we still call it home movies, and it's still focused on the DVD date release, but it's really, I think more people probably are now watching these, are probably streaming these, than buying DVDs. I really don't know, but I think that the DVD market's really fallen off, hasn't it? I'm sure it has. People are making jokes about it. So, but it's funny, because I used to watch a DVD, just about every day, and now we got a new player not too long ago, and I think I've used it twice. One reason is because when I get a DVD now, usually there's a code that comes with the DVD, and I can download it to iTunes or whatever, and then watch it wherever I want to watch it, on my TV or on my iPad, or just have it whenever I want to have it, and that's more convenient than lugging around the DVD. But the other thing is that I just think all physical media is going to go away, because all it is a storage device. It's sort of like vinyl's made a resurgence, but that's because they're ghost attached to vinyl, because we see things in it that maybe aren't there. I think the warmth, and I'm not knocking it, I like vinyl records, but I think the warmth we associate with vinyl records is really just noise. It's distortion. It feels good, but it's not. And I think that eventually, even if I can live without them, eventually we're all going to be able to live without them. Because in the heyday, I probably had, 3, 4,000 DVDs. Yeah, but they send them to me. And I've basically gotten down, well, I can't say that. I've basically gotten down to about 100 that are in their case, which is around the corner that you can't see, actually. It's behind this microphone over there. There's maybe 100 DVDs there, but there's also this whole... I take them out of the cases and put them in little envelopes and stack them into bins, so there's probably a few thousand in there, but I'm a movie critic. I need those. I might have to. And I do classes. If I was teaching my class, I would be pulling DVDs out of that collection to show in the theater. Next summer we'll come back with a vengeance. But most people are not going to use DVDs anymore. Most people are probably not going to have, collections the way they've had, the way people stopped having collections of music. A few people have music collections. I have extensive music collection, but it's on a hard drive. That's probably where you store your movies too, if you don't already. Or you'll just let them come and go as you want. Pick them out of the air when you want them. Just trust that big cloud up there that will let you download them for a nominal fee or store them there or whatever. So it's a different kind of world for those of us who grew up used to having things. It's great for someone like my wife, Karen, who would have everything be... This is the most cluttered room in the house. This is my studio. None of the rest of our house looks like this. We do have a library back over there that you can kind of see through the doorway. But that's the only... That room and this room is the only one that has a bunch of books in it. So, and it used to be, we had books everywhere. They kind of were insulation or wallpaper. Now we don't have them anymore. That's all right. It's all right. We can get what we need. These things are obsolete, are going that way. But I think there's still going to be at least a place for a movie theater as kind of this ritual space, as kind of a temple where we'll all go and sit in the dark with strangers and look at the screen, look at the wall. That's not going away, I don't think. No matter how good your home sound system and everything, one thing that this pandemic has shown us is that we really do want to be, most of us really do want to be with other people. At least I do, after a while sitting in here. The other thing it's taught us is maybe that we don't need to have as many haircuts. I'm getting along fine with I think Karen's cut my hair, trimmed it once. So, and I saw a friend of mine who came by the other day and stuck out a bag of strawberries that we took from him, observing all the social distancing thing. And his hair is getting long. And he looks kind of cool. I mean, it's anyway. The other thing we have in this week's movie style that I wanted to call people's attention to is we have a wonderful resource on the movie style desk, and his name is Joe Riddle. He's our chief copy editor, and he's also a film historian, I would say. Not so much to call him a film buff is to, kind of minimize what he does. But he's written a really nice piece about Thomas Mitchell. If you don't know who Thomas Mitchell is, you should. And, we're going to try to keep doing this after the movies start coming out, too, because I'm really enjoying, what we're doing. We've got, I don't know where they're going to have. Piers Marchant has done some great work. He's got 2 columns that are on tap right now, and he's probably going to file something else this week. I can't say enough about Courtney Lanning and her Platform Diving, which is generally a look at what is streaming or what is on, but now since we're all doing that, she's free to cut loose and do whatever. She's a big anime fan. Fine, let's do some of that. Dan Liebarger's contributing some really great stuff, and of course my wife Karen, who does more than just DVD column. She also, keeps me in line. We're trying not to make these quite so long because I don't get the sense that people are putting up with 40-minute on film columns from me. So, we're going to cut this off. I'm going to leave my, that's my Twitter handle. We're going to cut this off now, and let me a note. Send me a note. pmartin@arkansasonline.com. No, actually, we have a new email address now. It's up on the screen right now. You can follow me on Twitter, find me on Facebook. You can send me an email, and it'd be good to hear from you because the way this is set up, we don't get a whole lot of feedback through the newspaper because you're watching it on the iPad, and I don't think there's a way to leave a message underneath it or anything like that. So, Twitter, email, whatever. If you call my office, I'm not answering the phone. I'm not there. I know I'm supposed to be able to check it remotely, but who does that? Send me a text. Okay, bye guys, and we'll see you next week. And if you're reading this in the morning, you'll be able to hear me on 103.7 The Buzz today with Justin Acre and Wes Moore. And we'll get through this. We will. We'll get through it, and everything will be fine. And we'll all go back out, and we'll go to the movies, and we'll go to bars, and we'll go to parties. And let's see.